I thank the grace of Heavenly Mother, compassion of Maitreya Buddha, and virtue of Sisun Simu, also Senior Master and Junior Master Lee, for giving me this opportunity to host this class. Today, we are going to talk about Tao Te Ching, Chapter 6, the Spirit of the Valley. This chapter is very short, but very important because it's related to the definition of Dao. Each chapter comes with a name, and the name can be break it down to valley, spirit, /Dao, and chapter. But before I begin, I want to reiterate on what I mentioned about in the last session. In the last session, I mentioned that Tao Te Ching originally has no 81 chapter. Lao Tzu wrote a huge article. It was not divided to 81 chapter, and they don't have any punctuation. No comma, no period, no semicolon. So it was later divided by a scholar. So this person, Wang Bi, he did a great job. He divided the Tao Te Ching into 81 chapters. He was born in Shandong province. At age 10, he was already a master of Tao Te Ching. He's a prodigy. Before age 20, he held a government position, an important position. And as you can see, his accomplishment is great. We can see that his most important work is commentary on Tao Te Ching, I Ching, and Analect. Unfortunately, he died very early. He died at the age of 24. That's very unfortunate. So he is a special person because his name is very prominent during that time. He was a philosopher, economist, a musician, and a poet. And by the way, Shandong is right here. This is Shandong in China. So before I started on chapter 6, I want to take you to chapter 5 first, because chapter 5 and chapter 6 are related. In chapter 5, we talk about heaven and earth are not human. There's a lot of action going on. There's the yin and yang going on, the human part and the unhuman part. In the heaven and earth, there is a huge battle, and we have to push in it. And if we push more and more, the air is going to come out and there will be a lot of energy. So chapter 5 talks about the action of Dao. In other words, it's the manifestation in this battle, in this heaven and earth. But it does not really touch on the Dao and the essence, which is the center. So it's only mentioned about the Dao, the center, in the last sentence. It's better to focus on the center. So chapter 6 is an extension of chapter 5, is to elaborate on the word center. So this is the content for chapter 6. The spirit of the valley never die. It's called the mysterious female. The door to the mysterious female, it's called the root of heaven and earth. It seems to flow gently and continuously. Utilize it and it will never exhaust. An important pronoun that we have to learn here is the spirit of valley. This is the main subject that we need to learn. Throughout Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu used different analogy to describe Dao. In chapter 5, Lao Tzu used bellow to describe Dao. In chapter 6, he used the spirit of valley. And in the later chapter, he used the water, the wheel, the cup, the pot, and the room. As we go on to a different chapter, you will see how Lao Tzu tried to teach his fellow the concept of Dao, although Dao cannot be spoken. So chapter 6 is really short, but it has very important message to comprehend. Let's begin. The spirit of the valley never die. So here we can dissect the verse into 3 sections. The first one is the spirit. Second one is valley. Third one is never die. So I want to talk about the valley first. The definition of valley is between 2 mountains. The lengthened depression area is considered the valley, or the hollow, the low point of the condition. So when we think about valley, the implication is a state of quietness. It's full of calmness, peacefulness, and serenity. So the meaning behind it is emptiness, formless, and shapeless. So this is the message that Lao Tzu wants to deliver. Valley is a metaphor of Dao. Throughout the chapter, we will talk about valley several times. So when we say valley, it means the Dao, the essence, conscience, and spirit, because that's the message that valley deliver. And here, let's look at the definition on this word, gu, valley. It means emptiness and non-existence, which means Dao. And then here, Sen. Sen is a god, goddess. I put a different word to help everybody to understand. All this description are to describe Sen, which exists, and therefore it's the manifestation. So we all know that valley is the metaphor for Dao. So how can we practice in terms of cultivation? It's very important to reach the state of emptiness, which is the essence of Dao. To reach the state of emptiness, it's very easy to say than done. Sometimes the best way is to think about us not being perfect. For example, somebody like me, very clumsy, sometimes I will say something and that will hurt people. And if I'm aware of that, I will say, well, Joanna, before you say something, I have to be careful. So when I say something, I'm very cautious on what I say. There are times that the weather condition is not so good. It's windy and it's raining. And then I will always get my jacket and get my umbrella. But I tell my kids to get the jacket and umbrella. They don't listen. They say, I'm fine. So by the end of the day, they get sick. So if I realize I am more prone to sick or prone to illness, then I will protect myself. So if we have the sense of feeling imperfect, feeling insufficient, then we will try our best to do the best of it. Feeling inefficient is like thinking our mind is like a half cup. If we are always half cup, then we will always be humble, right? And letting go is another way of cultivation ourselves. I want to share with you a story. In Shakyamuni Buddha's time, there was a little monk. He always stayed with Shakyamuni Buddha for practice. And this little monk asked Buddha, you know, teacher, you give us so much words, so much teaching, but I cannot remember all this. What can I do to practice myself? Can you give me some words to help me to remember? Shakyamuni Buddha said, just 3 words, let it go. So the little monk started to ponder, let it go, let it go. Okay, let it go. That means let go of my mind and desire. Let go of my clothes. Let go of my hair. And then finally he realized, oh, I need to let go of my body too. Because my body is just made out of earth, fire, wind, and water. Right? Our body is made out of earth because the physical body will eventually go back to earth. And then when we are angry and when we have temperature, we have this body temperature, which represents fire. And when we breathe, that represents wind. And of course, our blood represents water. So the little monk realized, oh, I need to let go of my body too. So he confirmed with the Buddha. So the Buddha said, you got it. So in terms of cultivation, it's the internal part. Cultivation is different than religion because cultivation is things have to come from internal. So cultivation, it has to do with our internal being. It has nothing to do with external. For example, during a pandemic, the government is going to impose, they might impose, if you don't wear masks, you are going to be fined for a certain dollar amount. But if we can do that internally, it will protect us more. So if we understand Dao internally, it will help us in terms of cultivation. We don't need to have people to tell us, to preach us what to do, like the religious rule or religious right to form or guide us. But in terms of cultivation, Dao, it comes from inside. The practice has to manifest from yourself. So the best way to practice the emptiness, the concept of emptiness, is thinking our mind is like a mirror. Here I have a picture. The flower is right in front of the mirror. So the mirror is supposed to reflect what's in front of it. Our mind is the mirror. We should reflect on the poor and the rich. We should reflect on the beauty and the ugliness. So whatever comes to us, we should reflect upon that. We should not have any favoritism. We should not have any judgment. We should not have any prejudice. However, when the object is gone, then it should be gone. We should not cling on the beauty. We should not just cling on the wealth. We should just let go of everything. If the image is not in front of the mirror, then we should just let go. In other words, if somebody says something bad to us, then maybe your mirror will be, or maybe your paper will be a whole bunch of scratch or with a whole bunch of mark. But then if you will see the person, the same person again tomorrow, you should treat that person as a blank piece of paper. Forget about yesterday, and then treat everybody as a new person, a new life. It's easier to say than done. Think about our mind as the mirror. Whatever comes, we should reflect upon it. We should not have any prejudice, should not have any favoritism. When the object is gone, then we should not cling to anything. So when we're talking about valley, how to empty our mind, on this slide, I want to elaborate on the valley and the spirit. The valley and the spirit, it's represented in this circle here. But this one can be manifest into a global perspective. In the universe, it has this concept. In heaven and earth, it has this concept of the valley and the spirit. And so does human. So our human mind is like a valley. We need to empty ourselves so that the manifestation can come upon. In the scripture of clarity and tranquility, say it very well. The great Tao is without form, yet it creates and nourishes heaven and earth. The great Tao is without feeling, yet it moves the sun and moon. The great Tao is without name, yet it forever supports the 10,000 creatures. So this concept really echoes with chapter 1. Here is the verse from chapter 1. Chapter 1 also talks about Tao in 3 perspectives. The perspective of universe, the perspective of heaven and earth, the perspective of human perspective. Spiritual valley is everywhere. By the way, the spiritual valley is a metaphor of Tao. So you can see that Tao is omnipresent. So on this slide, I'm going to talk about the spirit. I think we all agree spirit exists. So what is spirit? Here is some example of spirit. The heavenly Lord, Lao Mu, God, Goddess, deities, spirit, Buddha or angel, whatever you want to call it. It's some kind of energy that exists. It's beyond our imagination that we cannot see. So if we say valley is the Tao, then spirit is the manifestation. Being a Dao practitioner or being a Christian, it's the biggest hope of the Christian to resonate with this verse in Luke 17:20. The kingdom of God does not come with observation, nor will they say, see here or see there, for indeed the kingdom of God is within you. The Christian want to have kingdom of God within them. And for us, we want to have Buddha come live inside of us, right? Yes. So it's really important to empty our mind. I have a picture. This person is wanting to have some food. So our body is made out of 2 parts, physical body and the invisible soul. The physical body needs to be fed by the physical food. The invisible body will need to be fed by the invisible food. So if a person is really hungry, say if I'm very hungry, I haven't eaten for 2 or 3 days, I can eat a lot, right? I especially remember the time that before the pandemic, before our family go to buffet, we try to empty ourselves so that we can eat a lot to get our money worth. So if we have a empty stomach, like really, really empty stomach, we can eat a lot. In terms of our invisible spirit, if we empty ourselves, then we can allow the spirit to come live inside of us, right? So how do we empty ourselves? We need to empty our human mind, the 3 poison, the greed, the desire, the aversion, the ignorance, the 6 desires from the eyes, from the ears, from the nose, from the tongue, from the physical body, and our mind. Being a Dao cultivator, it's very important for us to differentiate our mind. Is this the human mind or is this the Dao mind? When the thought comes, is this human mind? Let me put it this way. I want to have a Mercedes-Benz to drive. Is this human mind or is this Dao mind? Human mind, right? And what about, I always have this desire to memorize Tao Te Ching. So is this human mind or the Dao mind? This is Dao mind. What about, I want to be able to translate the Heart Sutra and then publish into a book so that I can share with other people. This is my Dao mind and this is my desire. So not all the desire are bad. Some desire, if it resonates with Dao, it's great. But if the desire resonates with your 6th sense, then it's not so good. So when we empty ourselves, we need to make sure our human mind is empty, not to empty our Dao mind, but we need to fill in our Dao mind. So filling in our Dao mind is to fill in the energy of the heavenly Lord, the energy from Lao Mu, from God, from Goddess, from deity, from the spirit, from Buddha and angel, so that they can come upon us. That's called filling the Dao mind. So here we have the spirit of valley. So when we prepare ourselves, if we empty our human mind, then our mind will create the thirst. It will have abundance of space to allow the spirit to come live inside of us. And this is very important. And before we do that, we need to prepare ourselves. We need to prepare ourselves to have the same chi, same energy. Have you ever seen fortune teller or some psychic? Before they start speaking, they have to sit there for few minutes or few seconds. They have to prepare themselves to allow the spirit to come into them so that they can foretell or prophesize your future. The psychic need to do that in order to do the fortune telling. So I'm not encouraging you to go to see fortune telling, but this is the concept. So if you want to resonate with the spirit of the divinity, you have to prepare yourself. Resonate yourself with the same mind, same likeness. How do you do that? It's good to go through meditation. Sometimes reading Tao Te Ching will help. I read a lot of Tao Te Ching because I need to prepare the class. So basically, my energy resonates with Lao Tzu. So in other words, if you want to resonate with Guan Yin, then you want to read the Heart Sutra. If you want to resonate with Shakyamuni Buddha, then you will read the Diamond Sutra. If you want to resonate with Lao Tzu, you will read the Tao Te Ching, right? Here I want to talk about meditation. In our society or even on the meetup group, there's a lot of meditation group. Meditation takes a lot of time. So the purpose of meditation is to sit there for 30 minutes to hours, not to thinking about anything, and to have that peace and calmness and stillness in our mind. But in our Dao temple, we understand that not many people have this kind of time. So we encourage everybody to do moving meditation. In the old time, people were go to do meditation, the Indian yogi or the Hindu, they will go to the mountain or go to the cave, staying alone, be secluded in a society. They want to meditate because they think, if I don't see, then my heart will not be disturbed. If I don't hear, so my heart will not be worried. But for us, we are all living in this society. We want to practice that we see, but our heart will not be disturbed. We hear, our heart will not be worried. So this is called the moving meditation. The moving meditation is about you are in this chaotic environment, but you are not being disturbed by the environment. This takes time, and this is even harder. This is even harder than the still meditation. So if you can achieve that, I'm sure you can achieve the still meditation by sitting there for 30 minutes to 1 hour. So the concept of emptiness is to get rid of the unrighteous thought, the unenlightened thought in our mind, to allow the Tao mind to come into our valley. So we are very fortunate. We all come to this earth to become a human. We all have done some good deed. Otherwise, we would not be here. But life is so difficult. I know a lot of us are panicked during this pandemic. And this is what life is about. So because in the past, we all have some good karma and bad karma. So right now is the time we need to redeem ourselves. Living in this society, the moving meditation will help us because we come with this physical body, we have to deal with the disturbance in our external environment. So this is a great training ground for us. If we can succeed, then we are on our way to reach divinity. So on this slide, I'm going to talk about never die. Never die means no birth, no death, no cease, forever and no change. So this talks about Dao, and it talks about conscience. But this is what it means literally. I want to take it a step further. In terms of cultivation, how should we proceed the word never die? So never die, it means illumination on the purpose of life. We all come to this life with a purpose. We don't want our life to go wasted. We want to shine our aura. Have you seen the picture of the saints and sages? They have this aura right around their head. We can cultivate our own aura too. And the key is do not waste our life. We all come with a purpose. We all come with a purpose. We want to achieve whatever we can. Think about our life is like climbing a ladder. So we are at a certain point. So we have to achieve to a higher level, even just one step higher. At least we don't want to stay in the same place, and we don't want to go down. We want to go up little by little. If we can go 5 or 6 steps further, that's great. We want to live our life to our full potential. So never die means be able to shine your own light, be able to cultivate your own aura. And our original pure consciousness comes with certain light. So we want to manifest our own light. Because of the spirit and soul and essence never die. So this is the same thing. Spirit, soul, and essence never die. It also means Dao too. So the spirit in the valley will manifest within. So when we empty our mind, we allow the spirit. The spirit is what I mentioned about the Lord of Heaven, the God and Goddess, the Buddha, and the saints and angels. So those are the external spirit, but we have our own spirit too. In my previous session, I mentioned that you and I, each one of us, we all have this ability, we all have this quality to become angel and Buddha and saints and sages, or God and Goddess. So we want to manifest our own spirit. However, sometimes we need help. So we invite other spirit to come to us, the good spirit, not a bad one. So that once our spirit resonates with them, we will create a big aura. Sometimes our spirit needs help. For example, if we are creating a bonfire, every one of us, we are creating a bonfire. If my torch is so far away from you guys, then I'm sure my torch will eventually die down or will be weak by a blow of wind. But when there is a whole bunch of torch come together, the flame will be so big and it will be so strong. So that big strong torch compared to mine, it will be so weak. So that's why sometimes our spirit have to resonate with the divine spirit so that we can make a bigger torch. And the fact that we are having this Tao Te Ching session together, I'm sure you feel that there is a torch inside of you burning hot. So having the spirit in the valley, we are preparing ourselves to have the spirit come within us. So what we are doing now is to use the physical body to cultivate our eternal spirit. So this is our physical body is temporary, right? We all agree that our body is temporary, but within us there is an invisible, everlasting soul. So we need two to cultivate. If you just have the physical body without a soul, it's a dead body. If we just have the soul without a physical body, we cannot cultivate. Therefore, we need these two together. And it's very fortunate, like I say, we are a human, so we will never want to waste our life. Use our life to the full potential to cultivate our own aura. So our physical body, it's a tool, it's a vehicle for us to cultivate because our physical body comes with a consciousness. And when our physical body perish, we will only be left with alaya consciousness. So what are those alaya consciousness? So alaya consciousness, this is a Buddhism term. Number 1 to number 5, we all know about. It's our eyes, ear, nose, tongue, and body. Number 6 is our mind. For example, what am I going to eat for lunch? I just wake up, I feel so tired. So this is the mind, a human mind that I'm talking about. Say, I want to have this cheesecake, but this cheesecake looks ugly. I shouldn't buy it. I'm going to buy a better looking cheesecake. So this is the mind talking. And then the ego it's something deeper in the mind. So think about number 6 is like the elevation. 6 is like this thick, and then number 7 is like this thick, but number 8 is the thickness is humongous. So number 8 is like a storehouse. It stores everything that you have in your current life, including the previous life, all your previous life. But number 7 is the ego, is the habit, is the characteristic. So number 7 has more profound impact than number 6. Allow the spirit to come upon us. Have the Buddha, have the angel come live with us to occupy our number 6 sense and occupy our ego consciousness. So when we die, number 1 all the way to number 7 will be gone. Only number 8 left. So if we only have number 8 left, that means our time is up. There's no more cultivation. We have to turn in our report. It's time for judgment. This is like doing a income statement. You have to balance your income and the expense. In USA, in April, we have to do our tax return. Time is up. So when our body perish, we are only left with number 8, and we have to turn in our report. And this is the time that will decide for us where to go next. So is our physical body important? Yes, it is. That's why I say we need to maximize our value. So during this time, we don't want the physical body to hinder our spirit or the soul. How do you harm the spirit and the soul? During this time, there are people who are depressed, who are suicidal. They are not only harming their physical, they are also harming their spirit. So try not to harm our spirit. We want to let our spirit grow. Remember I say use our lifetime to climb our ladder, because in the end of our lifetime, we are going to take our last breath. And this role is what everybody have to go through. During our lifetime, we have so many choice. I can choose this and that. I want this, I don't want that. But death is the only way that everybody have to take. There is no other way. One day I'm going to perish. You are all going to perish. This is the fact of life. So during this time, it's called bardo. It's a term that the Tibetan Buddhism use. It's called bardo. It's an intermediate state of existence between two lives. Between two lives meaning after we take the last breath until we receive our next body. So this intermediate time is called bardo. So for the ordinary people, when they take their last breath and the soul separate from the body, the soul is under a lot of fear and under a lot of stress, because we are so used to clinging on our body. So when the soul is separate from the body and the soul wants to go in, the soul realize cannot go in, it's frightened and it's fearful. And on top of that, the soul is in the tunnel or in the space of darkness. I'm talking about ordinary people. So within this darkness, the soul wants to find some kind of direction, but the soul cannot. Imagine how scared would that be? So out of nowhere, the soul wants to find light. And my question to you is, how do we get the light? How do we get the light? If during this time, the soul finds some kind of light, the soul will be very happy and will want to go towards the light. So hopefully that light will lead you to a bright area or lead you to the right direction. So let me go back to my question. So how do we receive the light? In the darkness, if somebody is sending the sutra by the deathbed, calling the Buddha's name by the deathbed, then that will provide a little light to you. I say little light, it's because the person, this is what Jigong Buddha said, the person who chant the sutra will receive 70% of merit. The soul who receives the merit will only be 30%. Say if I die and my soul already separate from my body, and you guys all are my Dao fellow, you chant the sutra for me, I only receive 30% and you guys receive 70%. Isn't that great? That's great for you guys, but not so great for me. So what does that mean? So that means it's better that we can chant our sutra during our lifetime. That's why in our Dao temple, we chant Buddha Maitreya Sutra. In other Dao temple, they chant the Heart Sutra, the Sutra of Tranquility, and the Heart Sutra. So those sutras, they do come with energy, because the sutra come with a miraculous energy, because this sutra are the representation of the Buddha's vow. Guan Yin took a great vow. She vowed to listen for the cry of the sentient being. And then if the sentient being cry out loud and chanting for her name on a focused mind, Guan Yin will come to rescue whoever that is. And then also Siddhigarbha, Bodhisattva, who is the Bodhisattva in the underworld. he vowed not to reach the final enlightenment if the hell is not empty. So all the sutra come with this great resignation, come with this great vow. It's the energy that the Buddha and Bodhisattva lay upon. So it's important to do the sutra. And then you say, wait a minute, but this sutra is in Chinese. I don't know much Chinese. What do I do? There's other options. There is the mantra. There's the Hindu mantra, Om Shiva Vang, or anyway, in the Dao Temple, we give you the three treasure. The three treasure is very precious too. If somebody is illiterate, you just chant this 5 word, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's very easy to remember. And then if you can do that on a daily basis, to have that imprint on your mind, when the final moment comes, you will not get lost during your traveling between two lives. Between two lives. What I mean is after death and then before the next birth. So if you, in your lifetime, if you are accustomed to or have this impression in your mind to chant the sutra, then that will be your guiding light. You will have your own light. But I want to say this light will still be small. The light is considered small, but it's better than other people chant the sutra for you. So how can I have a bigger light? So the bigger light comes from the merit that you've done in your lifetime, the merit of doing a good deed. So all this will help during the Bardo stage, chanting the sutra, the mantra. There's many mantra available in our Dao Temple. The Dao Master provides you the heavenly portal, lighten up your eye of wisdom. Keep in mind, this is a Dao ritual. It's not widely spread, but there is some kind of channel. If you have affinity, you will definitely receive it. I'm sure all of you have this affinity here because you all come to this class to at least understand the term and how important it is to receive your own light. And the Dao Master is available to give it to you if you want, so that you have your own guiding light. So the guiding light is important. It's like having a flashlight with you. And then hopefully that flashlight will be like an autopilot to guide you to a bigger light source. So all these are important, but the most important light comes from the merit, the good deeds that you do in your lifetime. And then the question might be, then what about Tao Te Ching? Why I study Tao Te Ching? It's not listed here. So Tao Te Ching is not listed here because I don't have space to write it in. Tao Te Ching will have its effect on here, the mirror, because it helps you to empty the human mind internally. Studying the Tao Te Ching help us to understand how important it is to empty our human mind and to feel our spirit. So Tao Te Ching's effect comes in this part. And then Tao Te Ching also help us to understand cultivation is very important too. Tao Te Ching is important because it's a very important book in terms of cultivation. Each chapter in Tao Te Ching, it teaches us specific way how to reach enlightenment. Tao Te Ching has 81 chapters. If you can just follow one chapter, you will be a saint or a sage, or even a Buddha. If you can follow chapter 2 by itself, if you can follow chapter 3 by itself, each chapter provides a perfect prescription in terms of cultivation. I want to say that 81 chapter, it's overwhelming. If you want to read 81 chapter, it's great. But if you say, oh, I love chapter 3 so much, I just want to read chapter 3 and then get it into my mind, that's great. Then have chapter 3 be your motto for this week. And then chapter 4 be your motto for next week. And I'm sure over a period of time, your life will be completely changed. On this slide, I'm going to talk about female. It's is called the mysterious female. So if you look at the Chinese character, this word is called Ping. Ping means female, especially it's the term of female cow. Here I listed here, but this is a more narrow definition. I don't want to use the narrow definition. A lot of translation use the female, so I think female works. I don't want to use the female cow. However, I do want to give you a little background. I think Lao Tzu used the female cow has its implication. So female cow, meaning a cow that can give abundantly, it's receptively, and the cow it's mild. It's interesting that Lao Tzu used cow. Lao Tzu did not use any other animal, not cat, not pig, not eagle. Lao Tzu used cow. This reminds me that in the Hindu scripture, they have this Shiva and the cow together. They have this Krishna and the cow together. Based on the Hindu tradition, they see cow as a generous, gentle creature because the cow provide more to human than what she takes from human. Cow provides milk, cheese, butter, ghee, urine, and the dung. So the urine, the Indian use the urine for medicine. I don't want to argue with you about a scientific proof, but this is what they use. On some people, it works. That's why they use throughout the ancient time, even to now. And I was looking online yesterday. The urine was used to cure coronavirus. So this is what I see on the internet. So urine, the cow's urine was used for medicine. It was and also used for floor cleaner, and it's used for diesel. And the cow dung or the cow poop, it's used for diesel and manure. So cow provide us many nutrients and many benefits to the humanity. So cow is associated with motherhood and Mother Earth. So it's interesting that Lao Tzu used the female cow in this verse. So when we look at this table here, female cow fall into this category here. And in the first verse, Lao Tzu used valley. This is also considered female too. If you would think valley and heel is relevant, because you would think that the heel is on the top, valley is in the bottom. Therefore, heel is considered the yin, the male, and the valley is considered the female or the yin. And the female, of course, here it's considered abundance, flowing, and never exhaust. So on this chapter, Lao Tzu used the concept of yin. On this slide, I want to elaborate on mysterious. It is called the mysterious female. So we understand the concept of female. We don't want to just use the term female cow. Let's just use female in the general term. So it's mysterious. Here I put down the definition of mysterious. Mysterious, fathomless, it's very deep, unexplainable, beyond human ability and comprehension. So in our mind, when we think about female, in order for a female to produce, it needs the male. But here it says it's mysterious female because for this female to produce, it does not need a male. And then this female, it does not need a form and a shape. So here I put my notation. It's called invisible procreation. In other words, this female is invisible, and this invisible female can procreate beyond human comprehension. Isn't that great? Does that sound like Dao? This is the concept of Dao. So by the way, mysterious female, this term is an analogy of Dao. So going back to our first verse and the second verse here, we have to read these two verses together. The first verse is called, "The spirit of the valley never die. Therefore, it is called the mysterious female." So we can look at this as this is the cause and this is the result. Because the spirit of valley, it's empty, and since it's empty, it allows the spirit to come inside the valley. Therefore, the energy lasts forever. And when the energy lasts forever, it's called the mysterious female. You all understand this concept? So this is the cause, and this is the result. So in order to achieve the mysterious female, you first have to empty the spirit of valley. And once you empty the spirit of valley, then your energy will never die. So the result is really mysterious. It's beyond imagination, beyond maternity birth. We can say that it surpassed the cycle of life and death. So with your spirit of valley never die, you will achieve this result, able to surpass the cycle of life and death, and then achieve immortal, the saint and the Buddha, divine angels. So think about Shakyamuni Buddha or Lao Tzu. Where is their energy? Their energy lasts more than 2,500 years already, and it's still growing. It will continue to grow. It will continue to procreate after I perish and after you perish. And this spirit continue on. There will always be people continue writing Tao Te Ching. There will always people resonating with Lao Tzu. There will always people want to be like Lao Tzu. So that result is enormous. So think about Lao Tzu. His spirit will last forever. What about you and me? Do we want to last forever? If we want to last forever, we have to practice the spirit of the valley. Empty our mind and have the divinity come live inside of us. So this is the mysterious part, the invisible procreation. Lao Tzu did that. Shakyamuni Buddha did that. Confucius did that. Jesus did that. I'm sorry, throughout the chapter, I only mentioned about Jesus here. Jesus did that too. He has millions, billions of disciples, and it's still growing. His spirit, it's still upon us. So the goal to reach the emptiness, to prepare our valley, is to be in a vessel of the spirit. So allow our body to be in a vessel of Buddha, allow our body to be in a vessel of God and the divinity. Let them live within. During this time, a lot of people are going through hardship. I want to suggest that if we allow Buddha and the divinity to live inside of us and then manifest their spirit, not manifesting our human mind, manifest their spirit. In other words, maybe you want to talk like a Buddha, speak like a Buddha, walk like a Buddha, and then read like a Buddha. Concentrate, and then we only say good words, no bad words, not being judgmental, no play favoritism, be a kind person, prepare ourselves. And I'm sure you will have a different life. It will take time. Some people, they don't have such a good life. I want to say, could it be that they allow their human mind to occupy themselves, which is normal in human nature. But if they can remove the human mind and allow the divinity to live inside of them, I'm sure their life will change. In order to change the environment, we have to start from our internal preparation on our Dao. And if we can start cultivation, then we will be able to change our destiny. We do have destiny. We all have a certain fate. Do we all agree on fate? Yes. Let me give you an example. We are born in a certain family. We cannot choose our brother, sister. We cannot choose our mom and dad. We cannot choose which country we are born. We cannot choose what we look like. We cannot change our appearance. We cannot change our gender. We cannot change our voice. So this is our fate. This is our fate. But we have the ability to change our life. It depends on how we handle our life. Life is not easy for everybody. It's no matter how unfair our life is, and no matter how disgraceful moment that we've been through, it's important how we react to it. So I want to give you an example. Just like in the car, Mercedes-Benz, the warranty is 50,000 miles. 50,000 miles, 4 years. And Camry, my Toyota Camry, the warranty, the manufacturing warranty is 36,000 miles and 3 years. So this is the fate of my car. So if I drive an expensive car, Mercedes-Benz, 56,000 miles, which is supposed to last 4 years. If I drive recklessly, and if I don't change the oil routinely, if I hit the brake recklessly, and then always taking sharp turn, this and that, going on a bumper hill, do you think it's going to last that long? I'm sure it's going to last less than 4 years. If you have a teenager to drive the Mercedes-Benz, what's going to happen? You will be lucky if the Mercedes-Benz will last for 1 year. But I meant that it's going to destroy. So it depends on the driver. How careful is the driver? If you drive the car very carefully, you will be able to extend the life of the car. So talking about our human life, if we drive our human life carefully, we will be able to extend our human life. In other words, if we can manifest our spirit, we can increase our value. We can illuminate our light. We can also extend our life. Extend our life. How is that possible? I want to share with you a story. This story is from my master in other line, from the Xingyi line. My master is a Dao master who transmits the 3 treasures in the IKT temple. This master, he was 50 years old, and then his mom was I think 75-year old. So one day he and his mom went to Taiwan, and then by friend's referral, they were being introduced to a fortune teller, like a friend, although the Dao master does not really believe in it. So this fortune teller was so shocked because the fortune teller told the mom that, oh my God, you are still alive. You supposed to pass away so many years ago, and you are still alive. What did you do? The mom say, well, I did not do anything. I'm just a regular mom. And then the fortune teller went on to do the fortune telling for the son, who is the Dao master. And then the fortune teller understand that the son is the Dao master. He realized why the mom has the increase of the age, because the Dao master is doing the Dao mission for the heavenly mission. That's why the mom can have extended life. The story tells us that if we are a devoted person in terms of a heavenly mission, or if you are a good person or a virtuous person, it's very precious for heaven, for Buddha. Nowadays, a virtuous person is considered rare. So heaven and earth, God, the heavenly Lord, will try whatever effort they can to protect you. Therefore, the life will be expanded. Because heaven cannot speak, and earth cannot speak. The heavenly Lord cannot speak. So the heaven relies on human to speak. And our Heavenly Lord is very generous with full compassion. Heavenly Lord wants to save whoever is doing great work for the humanity. Therefore, there will always be some heavenly angel protect the certain being. That's why you hear sometimes on the news, during certain casualty or certain accident, certain tragedy, this person is supposed to die, but this person survived. Okay, so on this slide, we are going to study these two verses together. The door to the mysterious female is called the root of heaven and earth. This verse talks about the role of human. So human can affect the energy of heaven and earth. So our human mind can affect the energy of heaven and earth. We all experience the good time. I remember, say, 30 years ago, or even 20 years ago, the weather, it's so good. In the summertime, it's hot and it's warm, but it's not so hot. And in the winter time, it's not so cold, but it's just cold enough so that I can differentiate the summer and the winter and the spring. But now we can feel that the weather, the summer is getting hotter and hotter, and the winter is getting colder and colder. And then there is so much calamity going on. The natural disaster, the ozone depletion that we can all experience, and we can see the calamity that we are going through now, the pandemic. We all experience that. 2 years ago, or even 1 year ago, if you tell me about the pandemic, probably I don't know what is that. I can only see the plague, the term plague in the Bible. So I have no feeling to that words. But only until now, I understand the term plague, and you all understand the term plague. It's pandemic. It's a global pandemic. And ever since last year, January 2020, there has been numerous channeling from the Buddha and Bodhisattva. So the Buddha and Bodhisattva, on the Guanyin, the enlightenment of Bodhisattva, and the Jigong Buddha, Guanggong and the Buddha Maitreya, they all mention about the pandemic. Where does the pandemic come from? The pandemic is a common karma. It's caused by the humanity, not just by you and me. It's caused by the humanity, everybody living on earth. So there are only a few good people, but majority of people are not so good. So that's why we have this huge calamity coming upon us. Human's mind can affect the energy of heaven and earth. It's very important to understand this, because during this time, we see a lot of casualty, a lot of disaster, pandemic. We have to understand where it comes from. It comes from the human spirituality is going through degeneration, deterioration. That was the cause. Therefore, we receive the result of pandemic. Therefore, it's very important to manifest our spiritual valley, to manifest the righteousness and benevolence. Although it's difficult because it's just few of us studying the Tao Te Ching together. Even if just few of us, we can multiply, we can resonate our spirit of valley energy to our environment, to our neighbors, to not to mention about neighbor. Now we cannot even talk to neighbor. When I go across the street, everybody try to avoid talking to each other. But at least to our family member, that's what we can do at least. To the people who you are living with, resonate the spirit of valley with them. During this time, people going through some hardship. Sometimes we tend to go to a temple to pick up our incense to pray, or do like the Christian, they do extra prayer. But to be blessed is not about how much we ask the Buddha or the saint and sage to protect us. The most important thing is what comes out from our mind. if the saints and sages can listen to our prayer, there's certain impact, but most importantly, it's what comes out from our mind. Therefore, it's very important to manifest our Tao, our spirit of value. So if we can have this spirit of value, if we have this door of mysterious female, if we can manifest our spirit, we will have a good family. We will be able to fix our marriage. We will have the opportunity to fix our family, our marriage, and then to advance our career. And to give you an analogy, if our room is dark, so how can we make it bright? By making a hole or make a window to the room, then the light will shine through. So if during your lifetime, say at this moment, if you feel darkness in your life, in your family, in your marriage, in your career, in your life, if you feel darkness in your life, then you just have to open your mind, allow the light to shine through, allow the spirit to come in. So the bigger spirit, the bigger torch can join with your little spirit, or your small torch can be enlightened to a bigger bonfire. Think about our mind like a cup. If our cup is filthy, what are we going to do? We have to empty our cup and then pour in some water, clear water, so then our cup can have some clarity. If our cup is filthy, full of darkness or sentiment, then that's what we need to do. So same thing for our mind. If our mind is filthy or dark or feel dense, then we have to empty our mind. So in the earlier slide, I mentioned about this verse is about the role of human. If we look at I Ching, there is 64 symbols, and each symbol is made out of a 2 triagram. It's called the upper triagram and the lower triagram. So this is how the 64 triagram is formed. It's formed by these 2. Based on the Confucius annotation, the I Ching can be divided into 3 perspectives: the heaven perspective, and the human perspective, and the earth perspective. In the heaven perspective, it has the element of yin and yang. In the human perspective, it also has the element of yin and yang. In the human perspective comes in the pair, benevolence and righteousness. Righteousness represents the yin, Y-A-N-G, and the benevolence represents the yin. So they all come in the pair. In the earth perspective, it comes with pair too, the softness and stillness. So why do I want to talk about this? I want to emphasize that Confucius say that I Ching, each symbol is made out of 3 perspectives. Human takes the middle one. In other words, human can connect to heaven and earth. Human can communicate with heaven and can deliver message to earth. Human can harmonize heaven and earth. Human can speak for heaven and earth. Therefore, when you put these 2 together, the door to the mysterious female is called the root of heaven and earth. So we can paraphrase as the door to the mysterious female is called the root of human. In other words, human is closely connected to the root of heaven and earth. It's all tied together. In the earlier slide, I mentioned that the Tao and the spirit of value can be looked at from 3 perspectives. See this one? So this one, it can look at in 3 perspectives: universe perspective, heaven, earth perspective, and human perspective. And also this one too, in chapter 1. So when Lao Tzu talk about Dao, we need to think about Dao can be interpreted into 3 perspectives. Confucius reinforced these ideas too. Heaven, human, and earth. And Confucius placed human between heaven and earth. Heaven cannot speak, therefore human can speak for heaven. Earth cannot speak, therefore human can speak on behalf of earth. In the past, saints and sages all done that. All the literature that the saints and sages provided to us, they pass on to us, they are all the wisdom from the heaven. Aren't they? Those wisdom cannot be written or issued by a regular human. They must be wisdom passed down from the heaven. Therefore, all the scripture from the past, say Confucius' great learning, the Diamond Sutra, Tao Te Ching. Isn't that true? Lao Tzu is speaking on behalf of heaven and earth. Lao Tzu is speaking on behalf of himself, but he delivered the message for heaven and earth. We as a human, we're supposed to follow the eight virtue. We're supposed to follow all the virtue that we are equipped with. All these virtues are innate in the human characteristic. However, humans forgot about it, and humans have the human mind occupy the human mind. Therefore, the spirit cannot come in. So it's important to understand this concept. So knowing that, I can paraphrase the above verse as the door to mysterious female is the root or the source of blessed, healthy body. The door of mysterious female is the root and the source of a blessed, loving family. The door of mysterious female is the root or the source of blessed, successful career. So if you want to have a healthy body, have a loving family, a good marriage, have good kids, have a good environment, it really have to come from yourself, come from your mind. It seems to flow gently and continuously. So this word is gentle, soft, it's mild. I put the cotton ball here and silk here. It represents softness. Lao Tzu used this word twice. This word twice is to emphasize the softness, the gentleness, the mildness is being flow continuous. It's one after the other one. So it's a continuous flow. What is continuous flow? It's talking about the mysterious female. It's talking about the female. It's continue producing, talking about the spirit of valley, continue to come in, continue to resonate by itself. And here I want to explain the word seems. It seems to flow, seems here. So Lao Tzu used the word seems because he wants to emphasize this thing, this spirit of valley is not a physical term, because if he say it is to flow gently and continuously, it sounds so absolute, and somebody might challenge that this is a physical item. Can you show me what it is? But if you use the word seems, it avoids the argument or confrontation. It demonstrates this spiritual valley, the mysterious female is a non-physical item. And also Lao Tzu does not want to fall into the duality of existence and non-existence. Throughout the chapter, we see that Lao Tzu used that a lot in certain chapter. And also Lao Tzu wants to differentiate that this is a non-physical being instead of a physical being. So that's why he used seems. And I want to emphasize that the word resonate with chapter 1. By using the word seems, it adds some mysterious aspect to it. Chapter 1, the last verse says, the mysteries beyond mysteries is the door to all spirituality. And of course, the mystery is that it cannot be revealed easily. It cannot be presented easily. The heavenly secret has never been revealed on any scripture. Talking about the third eye, talking about the third eye, the heavenly portal. Well, in Bible, it talks about the heavenly secret too. Something has to do with eyes. So the heavenly secret, it's written in certain scripture, but cannot be revealed in plain text. And same thing for receiving the Dao. Sometimes we call it the Dao blessing, the Dao ceremony. It's a ritual that we receive the Dao so that you can have your light during the bardo stage. So receiving the Dao also have its mystery too, which cannot be disclosed in online session here. And it cannot be disclosed on the phone in social media. It can only be disclosed in a Dao temple during the Dao ceremony. So all this term here are the characteristic of Dao, aren't they? Dao does not fall into ambiguity. Dao is not a physical being. It's full of mystery, cannot be revealed. It's a non-physical item. So this is all the characteristic of Dao. So it's very important to understand the concept of Dao and to let the Dao to live inside of us. Here, I want to give you an analogy. So our food, whether it's a piece of steak or vegetable, food start to deteriorate it and the food will start to decay, right? So if our mind is filthy or if we have unrighteous thought, what's going to happen? The evil being, the evil thought, the unrighteous thought will come in. Therefore, our karma will change our life for the worse. So it's important to prepare ourselves, always prepare ourselves to have an empty valley and to have the righteous spirit live inside of us. We have our own spirit too. We need to cultivate our spirit. So once we cultivate our spirit, prepare ourselves, have the same energy, have the same frequency, then we can invite the kingdom of God to live inside of us. We can invite the benevolent Buddha to live inside of us. We can have Lao Tzu live inside of us. Utilize it and it will never exhaust. So the it, the pronoun, it refers to Tao, the essence, the conscience. It can never use up. If we want to use it, if we prepare our mind for the Tao, it will come in with unlimited flow. If we use it to the extent of unlimited usage, then we can surpass the unlimited. And when we surpass the unlimited, what does that mean? Then that means we reach the enlightenment to become immortal. Keep in mind, human resides between heaven and earth. This is Confucius annotation. Human can manifest Dao from within. We can manifest our own spirit. We can speak for heaven and earth. So here is also the characteristic of Dao. So Dao was there and will always be there. So does our spirit. And our spirit and our Dao will never deplete. And our spirit, the Dao, will fill with the universe. Think about God is omnipresent. So if we would prepare ourselves to grow our own halo, to empty our mind, allow the spirit valley to come inside of us, our spirit can feel the universe. We can communicate with heaven. We can communicate with Buddha, right? And when we do that, of course, the kingdom of God will live within us. So this is the last slide of chapter 6. On chapter 6, we talk about the definition of Dao. And I want to go back to chapter 5 because chapter 5, as I showed you earlier, chapter 5 talks about a lot of movement within this circle. The movement of human and unhuman for the heaven and earth, and then the sentence sages going through the human and non-human part, and there's big bellow, the energy come back and forth, but it only touch on the center in the last sentence. So in chapter 6, it's very short, but the whole chapter is talking about the Dao. So this is the summary. The spirit of the valley never dies. It is called a mysterious female. The entrance to the mysterious female is called the root of heaven and earth. Here I mark it in red. This red represents the synonym of Dao. So Lao Tzu like to use synonym to help his disciple to understand Dao. So all this is a synonym of Dao, or you can call it a metaphor. So Lao Tzu used the term spiritual valley to add some mysterious feel to it. And then the mysterious female, Lao Tzu used this term to describe female can procreate, but it's invisible. Of course, it's adding another layer of mystery. And on the third one, it talks about the origin of the universe, the origin of heaven and earth, the origin of the creation, the origin of all sentient beings. And that's the Tao. And of course, in chapter 5, Lao Tzu uses center in terms of the position. So Lao Tzu so far used 4 synonyms for Tao. This is all to describe Tao. Each one has its meaning to it. So since all these are names, so this is considered De because Lao Tzu already gave the name of Tao. So all this is considered De. All this is a manifestation of Tao. This echo with chapter 5. So to sum up, it's important to have the spiritual valley inside of us. We need to prepare ourselves, cultivate our light, live our life to our full extent. Do as much as we can in our lifetime. Do not waste our life. Illuminate our aura, and then live our life to the full purpose. Do not waste our life because we are so fortunate enough to gain our human body. So we have to do as much as we can. Speak for the heaven and speak for the earth. So in my next session, I'll be talking about chapter 7, selfless. If mistakes were made or said during today's sharing, I ask the forgiveness from the Heavenly Mother, Buddha Maitreya, Qigong Buddha, Sizhun Simu, and Masters. Thank you for your attendance. Thank you.